paying rent $2,000 a month for 5 years, you're going to be paying $120,000 to someone else. So are you really saving money? Well, hello again. So this has been kind of a hot topic. Most renters out there right now are kind of pretty comfortable, pretty happy, or at least they're feeling like they're a little comfortable. Maybe they're feeling like, dang, I'm paying a lot in rent right now. If they're not feeling that way, they should be, because right now rent is high. And because rent being so high just goes right along with everything else. Inflation being high, everything being high has caused everything to go a bit high right now. And a lot of this we can definitely thank to back to COVID. This kind of caused this to continue to go down this pathway. So many buyers out there right now, if you're thinking about this, you need to follow that path. You really do need to take that to heart. Am I paying too much for rent right now? Because, or maybe I should consider buying, but oh my goodness, interest rates are so high, or I don't have any money in the bank. What is my reasons why I'm not choosing to see if I can even qualify to buy a house right now if I'm renting? Those are questions that are legit, and you should be asking yourself those questions. I'm going to show you a quick little document on how detrimental it is for you to wait too long to go ahead and move forward with the purchase process. If I show you this graph here, it's actually going to hopefully allow you to see how much you're going to be paying over amount of time to somebody else versus paying it to yourself. Most investors do understand this concept really well. So I want to make sure that you as well understand this concept if you're renting right now. And this also goes for those of you out there that chose to sell when the market was really high, and you were able to get a big old chunk of money out of it because you were over occupant, and now you're renting. You're thinking that you're going to buy when the market goes way, way down, but just know, are you really saving money to do that? Are you really saving money? Because that money that you're saving, you're actually still paying in high rent right now to someone else, unless you're renting for free. If you're renting for free, that's great. Congratulations. You're one of the few that actually is renting your house for free right now. But if you're paying someone else, whether you're paying $800 a month right now, that's $9,600 a year. And if you wait, say 5 years, that's 48 grand you just paid to somebody else. Well, how much did you make off of your house? That's only $800 a month. But if you're in one of those typical rent ranges, which is probably between $1,500 a month up to $2,000 a month or more, depending on the size of home that you're currently renting, let's just take a nice round number of 2,000. That's 24 grand a year, $120,000 that you're paying somebody else when you could be paying that to yourself. So let's talk about those of you right now that have chosen to actually sell my house at the high of the market. And now I'm sitting waiting for the market to get down to the bottom so that I can turn around and start over again. Well, what does the bottom look like to you? This is a graph that I actually showed on another training or another video I did a while back that kind of showed what the bottom looked like over several years. And it was definitely not as low as I think a lot of you think. And let me share that one with you real quick and see if you want to make that decision to maybe rethink whether or not you should wait too long. So this is a graph I showed the other day. This is average median sales prices in the United States over the years. So take, for instance, in 2008. And remember, we're going to do another little video soon that's going to talk about, that true drop and why it happened and why it went down where it went, which really wasn't that far. If you look at this graph, it was what, $60,000, $70,000 it went down. And now let's look back over at your other graph over here. What is 60, 70? If you're paying rent $2,000 a month for 5 years, you're going to be paying $120,000 to someone else. So are you really saving money? I mean, during the biggest crash in the history that was caused by, you've all seen that video, or that movie. It's a great movie. But during the biggest crash in history, where real estate was the cause of it, there was only like 75, on average, $75,000 price drop. That's how much that happened. And now look at this graph. If you're paying rent to someone else, in 5 years, you're going to pay $120,000 in rent to somebody else, which I'm okay with it because I have rentals. Okay, I have several rental houses, so I'm totally okay with you paying us rent. If you really want to do that, we'll take that 120,000. Or you can go buy your own house, get in your own home, pay yourself, and then pull a home equity line of credit out. So you have maybe credit available over the years. You have some to use if you want to use it for another investment, or take money out of one and put it into another house. Now you have rentals that someone else can rent. This is definitely the smart way to spend your money, is to actually invest it into real estate investments. It's a very smart and wise investment. There's some great people out there that if you don't follow, you might consider it. I know there's always been up and down about Dave Ramsey and all these different people out there, but he will be the first one to tell you to invest into rentals and invest into investments. He says, invest into residential, but he just tells you to do it the right way, is what he says, is definitely pay off debt first and then get there to that point to where now you're investing. So very wise people to talk to and listen to. That's going to lead you down that right path. So in this case, if we go back to our graphs real quick right here, you can definitely see that it might not be a good idea to keep renting that house. All right, so let's talk about buying right now. If you were to buy today, you want to buy when the market is an opportunity for you to maybe put some lower offers on some homes, maybe ask for closing costs to be paid, maybe ask for home inspections, home warranties, and stuff like that. That's when a good time is for you to buy a place, because you're not going to have to pay as much out of pocket to get that property. And there's programs out there for down payment assistance for those of you that are renting, that are thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to pay a big down payment. I got to pay closing costs, got to pay all this stuff. Well, guess what? There's qualifying rates out there for you, or qualifying programs out there for you to be able, for you. There's qualifying programs out there for you that you can actually buy a house with zero out of pocket, almost, for the most part. Now, I will say there's also programs like USDA. In California, I think the Platinum's still out there, I believe, SHDAP, they call it, another program that you can do, that you can actually get into these homes for free, especially if you can get a buyer or a seller to pay your closing costs for you. You're not spending hardly anything out of pocket, is what I'm saying, to buy. And right now you can offer less for the property. So let's take into consideration the interest rates being high right now. Are they really high? Well, believe it or not, I have a graph for that shows what they were back in the day, and how they've changed so much over the years. And are they really truly high compared to where they were? So if you look at this graph, okay, so back in the 1980s, early 1980s, it was up there over 17.5%, 18%. A lot of you remember those days, right? And then it starts to drop down. It went down a little bit, down in the 85 range. It was down you get down to the early 90s. Now we're down there. We're still up pushing 10%, really close to it. Back in the 90s, yeah, early 2000, it started going down a little lower. And as you can see, there's a bit of a pattern there, right? So think back right here. Where's that? That's at 5%. That was like late 2018, early 2019 right there, where it ended up jumping up a little bit to 5%. And people were still buying houses. So fast forward 3 years later, 4 years later, and we're back up in the 5% again. It's a pretty average interest rate, 4 or 5%. I mean, if you look at it over the years right here, you can see anywhere between 7.5%. I mean, over the last decade alone, since 2000 to 2010 was pretty average above 5%. From 2010 to 2020, it was pretty average between 4 and pushing up as high as 5%. So are we high right now? According to the last decade, we're slightly high. According to the last 20 years, we're actually still way low. So is it a good time to buy? Yes. And guess what? The good part about it is, because you buy and you own the house, you can refinance it. Yay. It's like you got a big break on your mortgage all of a sudden. So it's just smart to buy, own the house. Now it's yours. You have so many more choices that you can make because you own this house. So if you're renting right now and you're just curious, it's worth getting a pre-qualification. Call your preferred real estate agent. They can connect you with their preferred lenders. If you have a friend that's a lender, call them. It's worth getting a pre-approval. I like to say it's good to always have a pre-approval. Do they go away over time? They're going to have you redo an application or something like that, but it's really not truly going to go away. You can actually still use it. You just have a communication with a lender that's your lender. It doesn't cost you anything to get pre-approved. Now you at least know in a lot of situations that lender is going to actually give you some great advice to make your credit score higher so you can get an even lower interest rate. So if you're renting, get out, write some offers, write low offers, ask them to pay all your closing costs. I actually got an offer today on a property, and that's what they did. They asked to pay the buyer's closing costs. Pretty common. This buyer's not going to have to come in with hardly any money. If you're renting, you usually have to pay a first and last or a deposit, right? So you're coming in with a couple, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 possibly, maybe even $5,000, depending on what your rent is, to be able to get that place. Why don't you take that $5,000 and put it in your pocket and go see if you qualify for a down payment assistance program. Go see if you qualify for USDA in one of the smaller towns, and then ask the seller to pay closing costs and save that money, or put it into the loan. So that way you can turn around and get a little bit lower payment maybe. So definitely you have so many options as a renter right now, but get out there and take a look at it. See if you qualify. It's worth it, because right now is a great time to buy. You can offer less on properties. You can ask for a lot. All right, I hope this helped you make a great decision today. So get out there and give it a shot.